Hi students, this is Mr. Nguyen. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to another tutorial video. Today we are going to work on identifying functions. So we're going to be looking at mappings, order pairs, make sure how to check whether a relation represents a function. We're also going to be looking at graphs as well. So let's start with this first example here. Um, by definition, a relation can be a function if all the input of the relation have exactly one output for each of the inputs. So the easiest way to look at is to look at the domain or the input of the relation. So if you see that the input has the same values, that mean is sending that same value to two different outputs, right? So let's say I'm taking 14 and I'm sending 14 to 20 and I'm sending 14 to 10. It's kind of like saying, hey, this person, number 14, why don't you go to room 20 and go to room 10 at the same time? This is a case that is not possible even in real life. We can't do that, right? We cannot have one person going to two different rooms at the same time. So in math, we cannot send one value to two different outputs. That's just not going to be possible. If you're building a machine, the machine is going to get confused when it tries to make decision. When you input a 14, it doesn't know whether it should output 20 or it should output a 10. So this is the case where we say it's not functional, right? So this is not a function. It's not a function when you're sending one input to two different outputs, right? So remember that, okay? So we're going to say, no, this is not a function because the input repeat, right? That means it's sending the same input to two different outputs, so no. All right, here's a graph of discrete values. So discrete values are just these little points right here, right? It's not a continuous line or curve. So discrete values are just specific points, okay? And for any graph, really, you could use what we call the vertical line test, or you can check the input, which is the x value for each of these points. And as you can see, each of these input have one output right here, one right here, and one right here. So none of these x values um, is repeated, right? So we say this is a function. Yes, okay. Again, table and order pairs are kind of like the same thing. Tables are more organized. They put the order pairs in the table to organize them, right? So as you can see here, all the x values are unique. That means they're sending each x value to one y value. So we are good. We are a function. Yes, okay. Here, this is called a mapping. A mapping is where you group all the domain or the input together and you start sending those values to the range, which is the output, right? And as you can see here, 15 is being told to go to -15 and to go to 0. So you can't do that. You cannot have one person going to two different rooms at the same time or two different places at the same time, right? We're not superhuman. So we're going to say that this is not a function because of that problem right there, okay? Done. All right, we're going to skip along a little bit here. And they're pretty much the same type of problems. It's just order pairs, mappings, and table, right? And then graphs of those dots, right? Let's look at this one. -14 is being sent to 2. -14 is also being sent to 13. So I'm going to say this is not a function. All right, skipping along, same thing. Here's another graph problem. So if you look, pay attention to the x value. There's one dot here, one dot at this value, and one dot at this value. So they're all unique. None of them are repeating. So we're going to say that this is a function. Oh, yes, not no. Submit. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't submit that one. This one, mapping again, each unit or each domain is being sent to one range right here. -10 is sent to 9, -11 is sent to 10, and +20 is sent to 18. So none of them are repeating, right? So the x value is not repeating. So this is a function. All right, a little bit challenging here. We have to check out all of these and select the one that is a function. So I'm going to mark the ones that are not for you real quick. This is a problem right here. You're sending 4 to 2 different places. This is a problem right here. You're sending 5 to 2 different places. And this is another problem. You're sending 15 to 2 different places. So this is the only one that's a function. So I'm going to select this one, submit. Awesome. One more, and then I think I'm going to move on to the graphs, okay? The continuous graphs. So let's do this one. Let's see where our problem is. Our problem is right here. One. None of these repeating. None of the x values repeating. So I'm pretty sure this is a function, but let's disprove the other one. Here's one. It's a problem. The 3 is repeating, right? So those values cannot be functions. So I'm going to say this is the answer choice right here, okay? This is the function. Submit. Awesome. All right, I want to check in these graphs. So if you look at these dots here, if you can see one input of -1 has 2 different outputs on the y value, right? So if I were to write these two order pair, it's going to be -1, comma, 1, 2, 1. All right, so that's the first one, the bottom one. And then the upper one here is also -1, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, -1 is really being sent to 2 different places, which cannot be a function, right? So that's not a function. So anytime you see that the x values here has 2, or I should say more than 1, then it's not a function, right? Anytime you see the x value has more than 1. So this one is good right here. This one, each x value only has 1 dot, okay? So this is a function. This one is not, so this x value has 2 dots on it, right? So the -2 x value has 2 dots on it. So I'm going to say this is not a function. So our answer is this one. Submit. All right, I'm going to move to the graphs right now. The graphs is very similar. So this graph is a continuous graph. So we focus on the x coordinates or the x-axis. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. We focus on the x-axis, and what we do is we call this the vertical line test, right? Vertical line test. So what this test does is you take a vertical line, you just draw a vertical line straight up and down, just randomly anywhere on your graph. And if this only touch one and only one location on the graph, then it is a function. Okay. If it touches way too many places, then it's not a function. So that's what we do with continuous graph is we draw these vertical lines up and down, right? And you can see that this vertical line touched this graph one time here and one time here. That's not a function. That means your input has 2 different outputs, right? So it is not a function. So I'm going to select no on this one. Submit. Okay, so vertical line test. All you have to do is draw a vertical line straight up and down. You can actually take your pencil or your finger, technically, you can move along the graph from left to right, If your finger touches the graph at more than one place, then it is not a function, like this one right here. Okay, very cool. This one certainly not a function. You can see if you draw a line up and down, it is not going to, it's going to cross at 2 places, right? So a circle is actually not a function. So, all right, I'm going to click no. I'm going to skip along to see what else we got. All right, well, let's do this one. This one looks, so you could actually draw as many vertical line as possible. One right here, one right here. You know, you could, let me change color so that it looks different on there. You can do one right here. As you can see, each one of these vertical line only crosses the graph at one place. So I'm going to say this is a function. Yes. All right, I'm gonna skip along here. Let's see what kind of problems we get into. Okay, so now we have multiple graphs and we have to choose the one that are function. As you can, this is actually pretty easy, guys. This is not a function, line up and down, not a function, not a function, right? So we disprove these three. That means this one is a function right here. You can draw a line anywhere on here and it only touches the graph at one place and one place only, which makes it a function, right? So this is a function. I'm going to select this graph and I'm going to hit submit. Very cool. Again, same thing. And then it's, you don't really, I mean, okay, be careful with this one because this, it doesn't fail right here, right? It passes the vertical line test here. It passes the vertical line test here, but it fails the vertical line test right here. And it doesn't matter if it fails at one place, it will make this not a function. You see, if I draw the vertical line right here, it fails right here, right here, right here. It touches at three different locations. This one failed right there. This one failed right there, which means this line right here is a function. Okay, so this one, I'm going to select this first graph right here. That's a function. Okay. So be careful with those curves, right? Make sure you draw your line carefully. All right, like this one right here, it's going to fail at the y-axis right here. Okay, it touches like two places, at least two places that I can see, right? So not a function. This one is actually good because you can draw them in vertical line up and down, and it's really just touches one place only. There's no repeat. This one, two places. This one, two places. Doesn't matter how they draw their circle, it's still going to touch at two places. So the one that passes the vertical line test is this one, right? That's a function. I hit submit. I think it's actually pretty much gonna repeat the whole entire time. So guys, this is another way to test to see if you have a function is using the vertical line test, okay? So to be a function, let's review really quick. Your input cannot repeat. That means the input cannot be sent to two different places or more, right? It can only go to one unique output, one output and one output only, okay? Now, can output be repeated? Yes, output can be repeated, which means you can send multiple numbers to the same output. Like you can send 1, 2, 3, 4, all go to number 20. That's fine. Because in real life, we can have three people go into the same room. That is possible, right? But we cannot have one person go into three different rooms. Okay, that's not possible. So one case is a function, the other case is not, right? Um, and then if you have a graph, just use the vertical line test. If it passes that graph more than one place, it is not a function. All right. I hope that helps, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next videos. Bye-bye.